What's going on? Welcome back to the channel and my review of The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 8, Chapter 16, The Rescue. So I just finished watching the episode with my son, and oh boy. So the episode starts off action-packed. Everyone's in Slave One. They're in hot pursuit of the scientists we saw in Season 1. They enable the ship with ion cannons, and they capture the young scientist. Forgive me, I don't remember his name. And they devise this plot to sort of attack Moff Gideon's ship. So they devise this plan to get onto Moff Gideon's ship. They come into hyperspace, and the plan is to pretend like Slave One is attacking the Imperial transport ship that everyone else is on, with the exception of Boba Fett. So this ruse works for the most part. You can tell Moff Gideon kind of knows, he knows something's up. So TIE fighters are dispatched. The Imperial transport sort of pseudo crash lands on Moff Gideon's battle cruiser. Everybody, with the exception of Mando, sort of fights their way, making their way to the bridge. And then the plan is for Mando to sneak around and disable the bay that is actually holding the dark troopers, and then he's going to go rescue the child and get out of there. But of course, you know, Bo-Katan's very adamant that she has to face off against Gideon, because we know she wants that dark saber. She's got to have it, and it has to be won in combat, obviously. So the team takes the bridge. It's girl power. It's for the most part, it's fine. I don't mind an all-girl team. What I do mind is the tactics. They just walk into every room and just blast away, guns blazing. There's not a lot of duck and cover. There's not a lot of strategy. They just walk in. So if there was a critique that I had about the episode, that would definitely be it. It needs to be more strategic. It needs to seem like this is an actual military team that's working together and not just walking in a room and just laying waste to everything. I'd like to see the stormtroopers be a little more, resilient than that. It's like playing a game where the AI is turned all the way down. They just stand there waiting to be shot. In any event, they make their way to the bridge. They capture the bridge. Of course, Bo-Katan's like, well, where's Moff Gideon? And then we cut to Mando. He's able to open up the detention center bay that the child is in, and Moff Gideon is there. He's got the child. He's got the dark saber held at the child, and Mando says, "Listen, I don't care about the dark saber. You keep it. I just want the child." So then Moff Gideon deactivates the saber. And you think for a second that he's just gonna kind of let him take the child and go. He's like, "Hey, I got what I needed. I got the blood. Go ahead and take him." But of course, that's not the case. Moff Gideon just being sneaky, true villain, and just Giancarlo's performance in this whole episode is just great. It's just great. He's a believable, true adversary to the entire team. So I love his performance as Moff Gideon. So they go one-on-one. Moff Gideon's got the dark saber. And of course, Mando's armed with the Beskar and the Beskar staff, and it's a great fight, and he ends up defeating Moff Gideon. Then you see them make their way to the bridge, and then this is where sort of that revelation becomes, he can't just give the dark saber to Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan knows it, and so does Moff Gideon. And Moff Gideon, I think his plan was to have combat with Mando. If I defeat Mando, great. If I don't defeat Mando, it prevents Bo-Katan from getting what she wants, because I would have been defeated by Mando, at the hands of Mando, not Bo-Katan. So she can't just take the saber. So I think that that was part of his nefarious plan. And once again, he's a genius. Now, before we saw that Mando had to go one-on-one with one dark trooper, but he was able to blow all the other ones out in the airlock. You think that problem has been taken care of, but that's not the case. They're able to come back. They have jetpacks in their feet. We saw that in the 2 episodes back, where they actually flew down to the planet. So they're making their way back to the ship. So everyone's held up in the bridge, and they shut the blast doors. All the dark troopers are there. They're headed towards the door. And they know listen, this is not looking good. And Moff Gideon, sits there, with his cuffs on, just gloating, saying, "Listen, at the end of this, you're going to put up a valiant effort. But we know that everyone in this room will be dead except for me and the child." And then everyone's there, guns pointed at the door. The dark troopers are beating down the door. It's very tense. The camera begins to close in on everyone in the room. You're wondering what's going to happen. And I thought at some point, Ahsoka would jump out and save the day. but that was not the case. We get an alert on one of the control panels, and we see a ship entering or exiting hyperspace and coming into frame, and it's an X-wing. And this is when I started to lose it. A single X-wing, you know, and Cara Dune even says, "Wow, single X-wing, great, you know, we're saved." And then I thought to myself, who pilots an X-wing? And then I started to get really excited and a little emotional, and I thought, no, there's no way. And there's just a single, you know, X-wing just sort of docks, you know, and I'm like, they're not gonna, no, there's no way. And then you see a shadowy figure, and I'm like, oh, come on, what are you doing to me? Don't mess with me. And then you see that green lightsaber ignite. Oh man. And you see Luke Skywalker, just being a badass, and you know, really in the Force and taking all these Dark Troopers out, and using different Force powers. At the last one, he just crushes with the Force, and it's amazing. And then when they open up that door, and you see that, you know, Grogu knows that's a Jedi. Obviously, the lightsaber kind of lets you know, but there's a connection there. And so, you know, they open the blast doors, and it's a DH Mark Hamill. It was actually Mark Hamill doing the voice, I guess. And it was just so great to see. And then they're pretty emotional back and forth. You know, Luke, being in the Force, knows that Grogu wants to go with him, but you know, he really needs Mando's permission, and he communicates that to Mando. And then Mando takes his helmet off, but in a scene that it really doesn't seem forced. You know, the helmet comes off, and there's a really good touching moment. And then, man, as if I wasn't gone already, R2-D2 rolls in. Oh, it was so good. So, and I feel foolish maybe for getting so emotional, but when you think about it, we've waited to see Luke cinematically since Return of the Jedi. And we never got to really see, I never got to see him in that way, cinematically. So it was touching. And it was great to see the character respected. It was even better, one of the best things was to share that moment with my son. So, so while I always thought that, you know, no episode or movie could be perfect, I think this time they did it. So, to Dave Filoni, to Jon Favreau, to Mark Hamill reprising his role, to everyone involved in this, thanks for giving us one of those little moments that we can hold on to. Thanks for giving us one of those little morsels that we can cherish. It's a little thing, but you know, it was like I was 10 years old again, and it was great. So for that, thank you.